Hello and welcome to the Shadow Traders training program. My name is Melanie Sun and I am one of the Shadow Trader trainers. In this video I'm going to be going over the cookie cutter or bread and butter strategy as I have called it. This is actually the clear trade and the 13 EMA gap close strategy given to you by Shadow Traders. I have called it the cookie cutter because what I have found for myself is if you truly focus on these strategies and become the master of them, you will find you can develop for yourself a cookie cutter approach to trading, whereby you can assure for yourself you'll get consistent results and therefore have a better prediction on the outcome of your portfolio. Now, I have developed formulas for this in terms of how many contracts to start with as a new trader and what you can expand to as you progress with more certainty. I will be talking about this in the later parts of these videos. But this is part 1 and we're going to be starting with the setup. My basic setup is the 1-minute chart and the 3-minute chart. As you can see, I'm presently using the European market, the 6E, but you can apply the same setup to any market of your choice. I have my dome on the left that I use to execute my strategies, and you can also, if you prefer, which some people do, you can, if you click the fourth icon in on the chart, you will see the buy and sell chart grid that you can use to place your order. But I'm going to take this off for the demonstration purpose. Now, first I'm going to go into the indicators that I prefer or have chosen to use. Shadow Traders gives you numerous indicators. Some are very important and some are less important. You can decide how many of these indicators to use on your given charts. So you can take them off and you can save them as your own special templates. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. First, you want to go to your control center, go to File, go to New, and then Chart, as if you were creating a new chart. And there are videos in your FAQ section on how to do each of these steps. But I'm just going to go through them quickly with you now. As you can see, you get your Format Data Series box, and in there's your name, which is the naming of the different markets. You click the drop down box and you can change it to any market. There's your ES S&P 500. I'm going to select the 6E. Where your interval settings is your time frame. So here I've selected the 1 minute. You can also do range charts, tick charts, whichever you would prefer to use. Some people use range charts. You can do a 4 range and an 8 range chart, just like I have a 1 minute and a 3 minute. The range means that it's the price action that's viewed in each candle. So in other words, if it was a 4 range, every candle, instead of being in 1 minute of time frame, would mean 4 ticks price movement in the market. So if the market moves 4 ticks, then we will get a candle. If it moves another 4 ticks, we will get another candle. And the same with the 8 range, 12 range, so forth. But I prefer to use the time frame charts for myself, so I can get better prediction on the trend changes. But there's no reason you cannot do it with a range chart. And we'll go into this in more detail. The other thing you want to look for is your chart template. Down here, Shadow Traders provides you numerous templates to try out, and go ahead and create different charts with each template so you can see what they give you. I would start with, as a new person, with the Shadow Traders chat room with no MACD template. There's one with a MACD and one without. Select that and then make sure you always change the days back. You want to change it down to at least 3 because the default always comes up as 15 days, and that's too much information for your computer and it will tend to slow it down. So we need at least 3 because of the longer moving averages like the 200 and the 100 moving average. You need that much history for them to be accurately calculated. So now go ahead and click OK, and we'll get a basic chart with the chat room template. Now the first thing you'll notice is that there is no 20 moving average on this chart, the black moving average, as you can see on my other chart. So we need to add that, and there is a video for this on the FAQ section if you want to view it in great detail, but I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. All you need to do is right click on the chart, go to indicators, and pull up your indicator box. As you can see in the bottom left, everything in the bottom left is what you presently have on your chart. Everything in the top is a list of things you can go through to find what you might want to add. In this case, I need to add the simple moving average called SMA. I click on that, highlight it, and click New. Now you will notice that the default setting is 14 and we need to change that to 20. So go over to your parameters on the side here and click next to the 14 and change that to 20. The other thing we need to change in this is the color. The default is orange. If you click the plus sign, open up the drop down box, click next to the color, open up the drop down box, and scroll up to find the color black. Additionally, you need to scroll down till you see the width. We need to change that from 1 to 3 to make it more visible. Now you click apply and you will see that we have the basic chart with our 20 moving average added. Now the other things you're going to notice are there's these additional indicators that Shadow Traders gives you. Over here you see in the olive green arrow with the CT symbol, which stands for clear trade. This is an indicator to tell you this is a good clear trade entry. Now you can see in this case it has given you a good clear trade entry. This candle is touching and is moving, going long, and it's a nice move. However, as Shadow Traders has specifically stated in the chat room and in some of the videos, indicators are purely technical analysis, and while they work some of the time, they don't work all of the time. Some indicators work better than others. So for the purpose of learning the clear trade, which is what I'm really going into in these videos, is I like to take the CT indicators off because I find out of all the indicators that one is the least consistent. And if you really are trying to master this strategy, I find it's better to look at the core charting like the moving averages, the pivots, the fractals, and the price action in the Linreg, and focus on when they all align and give you a very good entry as opposed to just a simple indicator. Because sometimes when it's in a time frame where it's not working so good, you may get caught up with this indicator and not be focusing on other confirmations. So they're a little bit of a distraction, so I take them off for the purpose of teaching people to really master the entry of the clear trade as opposed to just following indicators. So what you need to do is you scroll in your bottom box and let's go ahead and find ST Clear Trade. See where it says ST Clear Trade? That's the indicator. So we're going to highlight that and click remove and apply, and then we'll see our CT arrows will disappear. The other thing I want to remove is the LRs. These are the Linreg signals. Now I take those off as well because they're just to me an additional arrow that I don't need to be looking at, and I'm trying to simplify things for myself so that I focus on a few things as opposed to looking at a lot of things. So I'm going to make sure you don't take off the Linreg but the Linreg signals. So select that and click remove and apply. And now the last change I'm going to make to this chart is actually there's two more changes. If you notice, when you pull up the chart, you're going to hear these audio background noises, the little tinkerbells, and that's really related to or connected with the fractal switches and the beige and blue powdered lines, and we'll talk about those later. But I don't like to have audio indicators because they're just a little distracting for me, and that's really a personal preference. You can keep them on or take them off. If you do want to silence them, this is how you do it. Go to ST Fractal Breakout. There's two of them because you got two sets of fractals, and the audio is connected with the fractals. So you want to go over to the parameters where it says enable audio prompts, change the true by clicking the drop down box, and change it to false, and apply. We're going to select the next one, change it from true. You have to do it on both of them individually, then apply. And now we'll see that both of our audio indicators have been silenced. And the last thing I'm going to change is my LinReg 4. If you notice that it's brown and the LinReg 10 is actually the orange one. Now I like to change mine to the color blue because blue is the opposite on the color wheel to orange. It's on the opposite side of the color wheel, and it makes a pop. Brown, I find, is a little close to orange, and it muddies the LinRegs for me. So I like to be able to see the trend changes clearly. So let's go find the LinReg close 4 in our bottom box. And if we scroll over to the side where we see the parameters and so forth, click the plus sign to open up the drop down box under plots, and you'll see saddle brown, the color. Click the color drop down box, and I'm going to find the color blue, select that, and then apply. Now you're going to see my LinRegs really pop, and I like it. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that. But if you want to know what my personal settings are, that's what I use. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click OK because I have made all the changes I want, and that's going to remove my indicator box. Now, as you can see, the only thing I have left on my chart are these shadow indicators with the diamond, the ST shadow. I really like those because they really show you when there's big moves in the market, and I found that if you look back, most of the time they align with your clear trades, and so that let me go a little earlier. Most of the time they really align with your clear trades and give you a nice confirmation that it's going to be a nice big clear trade to look into. And we're going to talk about that more in great detail. The other thing that I leave on is the SX, which is your stow cross, your stochastic cross. Every time the stochastic crosses the 80 or the 20 line, this indicator pops up in the first panel, because a lot of people, your eye doesn't tend to look down, and so a lot of people, especially myself, forget to look at the stows. And if you are looking to scalp an extra trade or a one-tick trade like scalpers do, that stow cross will be there to remind you that the stow's crossing. And then so basically the only indicators I leave on are the ST shadow and the stow cross and the core charting, which is your LinReg 4 and 10, your moving averages, and the fractals, the beige and blue lines, and of course your pivots. So now once you've actually created the template you like, you can right click and save this and give it a name, your own special name. I usually go, if you right click, go down to templates, click save as, and I usually call it Mel's template. You can give it a name of your choice, and then click OK. I'm going to cancel this because I already have this template saved, and I'll show you in my template box. Every time I go to create a chart, my Mel's template is right there, so it saves me a lot of time, and I can use this for any chart. Okay, so moving on to the dome, my settings are, I usually in my ATM strategy box, I usually have all my contracts saved, and you can pre-save them for any profit and stop loss that you wish to use. Now my computer is just busy loading. Must have a big move happening here. As you can see, I have different contracts in different quantities pre-saved, so that when I want to change, if there's a big move I want to change from 5 to 10 contracts, I can do that at a click of a mouse without having to manually reset everything. As you can see, I have my profit target and my stop loss set at 4 and 12. Now I have to be real clear here, and I've saved it as my 5-4 strategy, meaning 5 contracts with a 4 profit target. Once you've set your parameters, basically, you can right click and then go to Manage ATM Strategy Templates, and there is a video on this, and then go to the name where it says name and give it a name. You can call it anything you like. I've just called it 5 contracts/4, and then click Save. If you go into your drop down box, it will appear there. So now at a click of a button I can change. See here, I have one at 8 and 2, and I'm going to go back to my 5 and 4, which is set at 4 and 12. And on this note, while we're at the this point, I like to really stress that just because I have a 12 tick stop loss does not mean that I'm always willing to risk 12 ticks. And let me give you an analogy of that. Let's say the market is let's say it's going up, but it's actually closing the gap right now. So let's place an order going long. It might just want to go up some more. There, I just placed a limit order, and as you can see, underneath the yellow is where the brown is. When this price moves, you're going to see the brown is my fixed entry point. The green is my profit, which is 4 ticks above my entry point. The red is my stop loss, which is 12 ticks below my entry point. Now let's say the market is going against me. I want it to go long and it is going short. I don't have to, if I decided, well, that it doesn't look like it's going to pan out in the direction that I have selected, I don't have to wait for the market to hit my stop loss in order for me to decide it's a bad trade. It's not continuing higher here. We got 2 dojis, so I may decide to get out of this trade quickly and wait for a real direction to kick in. And all you need to do is put your cursor on the green. This is the fastest way to get out, and drag it down, left click till you see the hand, drag it and put it on the price, on the yellow, and left click a second time to release it and move it to that position. You must left click the second time. Now as soon as the market has eaten through the contracts, it will fill me and get me out. And in this case, I'm getting out on my entry point, so I'm only paying commissions as opposed to losing 12 ticks. And it is after hours right now, so the market's moving a little more slowly, so it's going to take a little bit before. There's my brown. You can see that was my entry point. If it moves lower, it didn't fill me, then move it again a second time until the market has decided to fill your order. As you can see, we got out of that trade. We lost 1 tick. So at 5 contracts, only lost $62 as opposed to losing 12 ticks, which would accumulate to a lot more money. And that's how I make exits out of bad trades. The reason I have a 12 tick stop loss is to avoid any spikes. Sometimes you could be deciding on a direction and there may be a spike in the opposite direction, and if your stop loss is too close to the price, that one candle which you cannot really predict will spike you out and stop you out of the trade before it has a chance to recover and fill your order. Ultimately, trends continue and you would have made your money. Spikes, you'll find, happen momentarily, but they do not necessarily change the direction of the trend. So it's very important not to lose on a trade because of a spike, because you're throwing away money unnecessarily. Alright, so moving on. Now that we have our 1 minute and our 3 minute chart, I'm going to show you that you can do the same thing with your 5 minute. I would, on my second monitor, put my 5 minute chart and my 10 minute chart. Okay, so now I'm going to show you in the next video. This is part 1, which is going over the setup. I'm going to show you in the next video how to use these other time frames as lagging indicators, and at the same time they become leading indicators to help you make better predictions on your clear trades and your gap closes. So join me now in part 2 in the next video.